Dogman, based off the books, is directed by Peter Hastings and starring Pete Davidson as Petey. It follows a story on a police officer and his police dog being injured in the line of duty. As a result, they are fused together to create a Dogman hybrid that fights crime. I've been pretty excited to check out this film since the trailers and announcement because I was a Dogman fan a while ago. I might even have some books around here, I don't know, maybe somewhere. I have fond memories of watching the Captain Underpants movie when it dropped back in 2017, and DreamWorks seems to be really good at adapting these books. Based off the trailers, I really love this animation style. It's doing a really good job blending the kind of low quality style of the books into 3D. The voice acting seems pretty good besides Petey, who seems a little off. I kind of feel like no matter what, they're gonna get it right because pretty much all the generic choices here can be excused since the book in universe is meant to be made by middle schoolers. Overall, I think this movie is gonna be pretty good. Alright, that's it. Here's my initial thoughts. It's a pretty good movie. I don't really have a lot to say. I think it's like objectively not perfect, but I feel like that kind of adds to the charm, and it also kind of re-sparked how much I used to like Dogman. I kind of forgot a lot about this story. It's a pretty good story, actually. It's a good movie. I'll talk about it now in my full review. Let's start with the obvious. The visuals for this film are fantastic. It's been kind of a standard for DreamWorks to have this unique visual style in recent years, but it's still really cool how they keep trying out different styles of animation. It does a really good job adapting the low-quality middle school drawings of the original books into 3D. It manages to look really visually pleasing while still keeping some of that low-quality style. There's also some really cool visual flares here, like the comic frames being newspapers, or the actual comic text showing up from time to time. Not only is this film visually really great, there's some really good composition here too. This movie has some really cool transitions through buildings. Kind of the best way to describe these moments is like Wes Anderson, which is a really cool style and effect. It leads buildings to look more structured and comic book-like, which obviously adds to this very distinct visual style the movie goes for. Plus, the visuals can just be really funny sometimes with how low quality they are. Like when the characters are underground, you can just see the flat drawings of fossils in the dirt. It's easily my favorite aspect of the movie. DreamWorks once again showing they're still probably one of the best US animation studios, visually at least. Additionally, I also really like the writing here. It's like objectively really not good at all, but it's done on purpose to further push that this is made by middle schoolers. In the books, words like super and seriously are always spelt wrong, so in this film the characters always say those words wrong, like how the book is written. The actual writing itself here is pretty good too. Not all the comedy works for me, as I'll get into later, but most of the jokes have a very charming style. For as dumb and ridiculous as this movie is, the last 5 minutes are quite serious and done really well. These serious moments are also done in the book, but the film adapts and understands them very well. My favorite part of this film's writing is mostly Petey. He has a gaming chair, like come on. I said at the start of the review that the voice acting seemed off, but in the film Pete Davidson is really great. He definitely gives the best performance of the movie in my opinion. In general, Petey is just a pretty good character. I kind of forgot how much of a surprisingly well-written character he was in the books, and the movie adapts that into the film really well with pretty good new and old dialogue. Okay, so this movie has really fast pacing. The first book is pretty much done in the first 10 minutes of the film. I do mostly enjoy this film's crazy fast pacing, but it does lead it to be very messy. This movie is adapting like 5 Dogman books in one, and that leads this to just being kind of all over the place, with so many random subplots and a ton of stuff happening in every scene, along with the heavy use of time skipping. I think it does a pretty good job for what it has to work with, but it does lead the film to have a very wonky pace and very underdeveloped ideas. Like, I'm not sure if this is how the books used him, but skipping over Flippy's backstory and not really describing what his deal even is before he shows up is pretty bizarre. Not fully sure if he starts off dead in the Dogman books, but I think they could have redone it to make his inclusion make a little bit more sense. Lastly, I don't really care for this film's comedy. I know it has a point, but it doesn't have nearly as much significance as something like Captain Underpants, or that's actually crucial for the narrative to work. The jokes don't personally land for me, but I can excuse most of them for just fitting the style of the books well. It's a joke per second kind of film, and while pretty much none of them land, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, but the jokes I cannot excuse are the social media stuff. That sucks. Overall, I thought Dogman was pretty good actually. It lived up to my expectations. There isn't a lot to say. I had fun, I don't know. Favorite aspect has to be the animation, and I'd probably say the worst aspect was the pacing. It's a much bigger issue than the comedy not working for me. And I'm gonna give Dogman a solid 7 out of 10. Subscribe for more reviews. I drop a new big video every month, so be tuned in for that. I'm trying to make money off YouTube this year, so subscribe again. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and this is an epic outro.